That's it, ladies and gents. But let's start with who now? John Davis, opening statement. What do you feel like saying? What comes to your mind? What coming into your mouth? What do you want to say? Just say something for 1 minute. The mic is yours.
All right. You guys hear me okay?
Beautifully, clear.
All right. First of all, I do a lot of talks. I do a lot of keynotes, and I get asked to talk at a lot of places. And I got to tell you, I've never seen anything like this. This is amazing. All you guys are up on a Saturday. What time is it there? 6 p.m. Saturday night?
Different time zone, brother. Different time
zone. Okay, so for me, it's Saturday morning. I just had breakfast a few minutes ago. So this is amazing, and I love the energy here. So first off, congrats. This is like, you guys are the real deal hustlers on a weekend. So this is great. My story, real briefly, lifelong entrepreneur. I like to say I never had a real job, and I've enjoyed every day doing it for myself. First company built in college, built it, sold it, and I've been an entrepreneur ever since. Today, I own a company called Influicity, where it's a marketing agency working with brands across the world, across all kinds of marketing. And then on my own, on my sort of off work time, I do a podcast. I do a lot of content on social media, and I'm very, very fortunate to have a large listenership across Africa. So it's super exciting to be here and get to hang out with you guys.
Thank you very much, man. That was very straightforward, on point. I've got some questions for this brother, you guys. Stay tuned. And if you got somebody you love in your life, somebody you care about, bring them in this room. John, Mlamuli, and Michael, those guys are loaded. You're getting 3-in-1 every package. And like he said, hustlers on the weekend. We're gaming it, man. We're cashing out this weekend big time with these guys. Mlamuli. Put you up. Manje Kulumana, 1 minute.
Sanwana, Dr. Francis, I'm surprised that you are from my native tribe, the Zulus. Hujambo to the rest of Africa. Hello to America, I think. we'll go with that one. So I think it's, I also said the same thing that, geez, it's a Saturday at 6 p.m. and how many people will attend? So really, really glad to see everyone, and grateful that you're actually taking this journey very seriously. You know, by being an entrepreneur, you've chosen to do more than 9 to 5. Really, that's the decision you've kind of made, especially in the early years. So for a bit about me, I'm a best-selling author of a book called Winning the Money Game, A Guide to Financial Wellbeing. And our company is Manifundi. What we do is we train, facilitate, coach, speaking, etc. on financial education. And our differentiator is that we Africanize this concept of money, and we use edutainment. Our approach is very more like a production than it is a training, because before you try to teach people, you actually need to entertain them so that they can retain and want to be in the room. A lot of people find money to be intimidating and scary or boring, so we make it fun. And one of the most common comments we get is, it did not feel like a finance class. One of the speaking titles is Capital is the New Cattle. And the conversation we have there is, the relationship that Africa had with cattle as wealth is a similar relationship we should endeavor to get with capital and money today. So I think I'll stop there for now. Looking forward to the fireside chat.
Man, oh my gosh. These men are not just fine men, man. They kind of like fine with time as well. Time management on point. I'm loving it. I'm loving this game. Michael, what do you feel like saying? What's on your mind? You got 1 minute.
Yes, I think everyone said about Saturday. I love the motivation from everyone. I like to say I'm hardly home, but always repping. So, USA is definitely where I'm from. But I've been living the past like 6 years as a digital nomad. So I'm actually in South Africa at the moment, and live between London, Kenya, and South Africa, mostly traveling throughout Europe and kind of wherever I am thinking in my mind. But spent about 2.5 years in corporate. Started working on a company when I was 23. sold some of the assets of that company, and then started doing B2B sales because realized that was pretty much the only good piece of that company. I couldn't master the product. So did that for a bit, grew that to 30 employees across Eastern Europe and South America, which was super exciting. Also kind of got me interested in traveling and meeting people in person. So started like the digital nomad thing and kind of living everywhere, trying different things. And I was quite overweight. So found in this journey, like the past 2 years, found a love for running. So I trained in Kenya about 4 to 5 months of the year right now, with the aspirations of reaching Olympic standard time for like America. So now also building a healthcare company, so focused on like making concierge medicine more affordable, and doing some really cool stuff in Kenya as well. So extremely passionate about Africa in general. And I also believe like as an African American, we should always be the bridge. And so not complaining about some of the situations that are happening in America, but coming back home and trying to make the most and empower as many people as possible on the continent. So that's where my heart and I think my purpose and passion kind of intersects there. So
beautiful. I love it. I love it. My God, I'm having a good time already. These guys haven't even started speaking yet. Just from their intro, I'm feeling it. Who else is feeling it with me? You're feeling it right now. Thumbs up, use your reaction button. Show some love already. It's like, I know it's going to get hot in the room. It's going to happen right now. And Michael, I like the fact that your mic is still left unmuted, because I'm going to ask you something first. So keep it like that.
cool.
And what I'm asking you right now is, you don't want to know what I've done today. Like, you don't want to know what I've gone through today. Like, if I tell you what I've gone through today, you're going to be shocked. But you wouldn't be shocked, because that's why this question is for you. I don't know how many Zoom meetings I've done today, how many phone calls. It's election. I went to vote. I'm sure you know what election chaos can be. I'm in government. A couple of meetings still line up today. Crazy. And the question always be, how do we keep running as entrepreneurs? Now, why this question is good for you is, as a marathon runner, you are in the middle of the race, and you can see for your fact that the race is still extremely long. Like, you haven't even covered anything else, but you're still going. You're still going. Why am I asking you this, brother? Because there are people in this room who, if they cannot see the finish line, they're not running. You've done many races where you don't even see the finish line. And that's why I'm going to ask you the same thing, brother. How do you keep running? The mic is yours.
I think for me, so I was like 30 kg or 60 pounds heavier, maybe 2.5, 3 years ago. And so I lost that weight, got pretty decent at marathons, built the company, all this type of stuff. But I think the biggest thing is, I think a lot of people like perfection instead of progress. And so obviously people say 1%, some people say 2%, but it's like the 2% philosophy. I'm always preaching this, always sharing this on my socials as well. And basically the main thing is like, make sure that everything you're doing is sustainable, right? It's just small steps every single day. So even in like in a race, right? I'm not ever actually worried about the finish line. I'm worried about the next step, because I can never get to the finish line if I don't take the next step. And it's the same thing in business, right? Or in life in general. I believe you should be excellent mind, body, and soul. If not, you can only be mediocre at best. So in all of those categories, you have to get 2% better every single day. And even like an injury, for example, like how do you get even better in that moment if I can't run? Maybe it's like icing my ankle. This is something that's happened this week. So like icing my ankle, compression, whatever it may be. So I would just say the main thing is like focus on what's ahead of you in that particular moment, and focus on those small steps. A lot of people get just way too overwhelmed with like what like the finish line instead of like the process and the progress. I actually think the finish line is probably going to be much bigger than you think it is when it's all said and done. So that's the main thing, just the 2% mindset and philosophy. Make sure it's sustainable and be relentless in the pursuit of that.
Wow. 2%. That's all you need. 2%. That's amazing. I just want to thank you for that very, very strong point and contribution. Uh, you know, uh, the progress, not perfection. I am grateful for that, and I hope that someone in this room has heard that the consistency in getting better every single day. Now, Lamuli, this is going to be for you, and it's from what you just said that entertainment keeps them in the room. We got the closing concert as the final event coming up in the biggest entrepreneurship event, which is the Global Entrepreneurship Festival next week. And I've always said that in that atmosphere of social gathering, in a closing concert, a lot of transactions can happen. With the kind of programs you do where you make business interesting and fun, please help us explain to the audience here how very important and how impactful that atmosphere of business and entertainment. The mic is yours.
Sorry, Dr. Francis, if you could repeat quickly. Sorry, I was struggling to hear you.
Okay. The question directly is, what impact or how impactful?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. Can anybody hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Loud and clear.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Should we try now? Mlamuli, can you hear me now? Yeah, I see his mic is sizzling a bit. Yeah, it's sizzling a bit. So what I'll do is I'll just allow him settle in for a while. And
Yes,
then I'm
yes,
gonna...
I can hear you. I can hear you now. Yes, I can hear you now.
Oh, okay. So there's no delays, no feedback. You good now? Can I shoot the question now?
I can hear you now, sir.
Okay, great. So the question is simply, how profitable, how impactful has it been having this business and entertainment working together? I love it when you said entertainment kept them in the room.
Something entertaining? Yeah.
You said entertainment kept them in the room. So the question was, how profitable, how impactful has it been, especially for entrepreneurs who kind of ignore that kind of social gathering? How profitable has it been for business and entertainment for you?
Thank you.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. So money is one of, or cash flow, money, etc., etc., and understanding of money is one of the leading causes of business failure across the world, not just Africa. And we seem to have a weird relationship with money. So I studied economics and finance. I worked in one of the big four banks in South Africa. And I found that when we discuss finance, we tend to discuss money for finance people. And because when I was younger, I had a song book, and I also had a poetry book, and I used to perform poetry, right? But because I had academic colors, an African mother would never allow you to go study drama if you're doing very well at school. So I had to choose a Bachelor of Commerce in Finance and Economics, right? So when I started training this, I trained it as a banker, as a person from the financial services industry, and I found that it was just going over people's heads. And the more I started in integrating my theater, my production, my poetry side, the more people actually started resonating, and the more people started attending, and the more people actually started implementing it. Because every industry tends to have its acronyms, ROIs, or type of thing. But I'm not really into cars. So if I don't understand cars, it doesn't really impact me. I just call a mechanic. But if you don't understand your finances, it's not that easy to just carry on in the world. So what I say is that we are essentially saying money is a language, and we speak it in such a manner that everyone can understand. And then the book becoming a bestseller is mainly due to the fact that it wasn't written from my finance hat. It was written from my storytelling, my drama, my poetry side. And it's simply wealthy grandparents having a conversation with their grandson. And within the story, the financial gems and principles are embedded. So in that manner, anyone can read it. It's been read across different age brackets, but you get the essence of the principles. And I find that people relate a lot better to that. I'm not sure if everyone will understand this saying, but in South Africa, a lot of the time when we grew up, we had to drink castor oil. I'm not sure if that is an African throughout experience, but castor oil is some disgusting thing that you take to clean your stomach. And what most of us did was either put yogi sip or oranges to make it palatable, right? When you had to go through that. So this lady said, your book and your classes are the yogi sip to the castor oil that is finance. And once people see that this thing is not threatening and it's not scary, then you find that one, they buy it, two, they attend, they purchase tickets, companies get you in. Because what I say to the big banks and others that I work with is, I till the soil. You know, you can bring in the financial advisor, you can bring in the business finance, also work with enterprise supply development programs, because they tend to start the finance conversation from business finances. But that's like starting the finance conversation at tertiary level when you haven't had the conversation at primary school and secondary school. Because there's this fallacy that you pay the business. No. You pay the founder of the business. And if that person is not budgeting personally, they're not gonna or miraculously start budgeting very well for their business. So that's why I compliment that space. So I till the soil and make and build that good relationship with money. It's not intimidating and it's not scary. And when people are then able to take charge of it, they then build a money team around them, either a banker, an investor, financial advisor, etc., etc. But it all starts with people being comfortable with this topic, with as someone shared, the numbers. You know, some people are very just scared of numbers, but it's really basic maths. I believe money is a lot more about psychology than it is about the maths, and that's the angle that we bring in.
Beautiful, amazing. If you didn't hear that part, I heard it. I heard it when he said he has a good relationship with money. I wonder how long you've been dating or married. I don't know which part of it you've done with money, but he's got a really good relationship with money, and that's the best way to put it. Thank you so much, my brother. I'm going to come back right to you. John Davis has got his mic right in front of me, and is waiting for me. Now, what do I ask? And how do I ask? Maybe I should ask that part in your profile. That's quite interesting, where you say you learned, and it's an amazing thing that happened to you, which I'm also curious to know how you learned that trick, but also how you be able to identify that trick. That's the beautiful one for me. Are you able to hijack demands on the internet? What did you see and how did you say it? The mic is yours, John. Take us out.
Hijack demand on the internet. Yeah, that's a term that I use a lot. People seem to like that. So hijack demand or getting attention or whatever it is. I mean, you've heard people say there's a expression these days, attention is the new oil. I don't know if that makes any sense, but if you're building a business or if you want to do anything that's impactful to society at any time in history, whether it's today or 5,000 years ago, doesn't make a difference. You need to be able to get people's attention. And the comment about turning finance into entertainment, absolutely, that's a great way to think about it. I think if you're speaking to somebody or if you're trying to get the attention of a lot of people, it's entertainment, it's education, or it's inspiration. And ideally, it's all three of those things. My very first experience, I built an internet company when I was in college. I built it with $50 and a whole bunch of hustle. And it was a business that was making $300,000-$400,000 a year for me when I was a student in college. A lot of people go to school, leave with debt. I left with a big pile of cash because I just had a lot of hustle as a student. I wasn't very good at class, but I was good at getting attention on the internet. And the key back in the early days, this is like 2004, 5, 6. So in America, the biggest websites were MSN, AOL, and Yahoo. And 1 billion people every single day were going to these three websites. And I was making content. I had a website we wrote about sports and health and travel and all this kind of stuff. And I thought to myself, I could try one by one to get people to read my blog, or I could try to get my blog content onto the homepage of the biggest website in the world. So imagine today, if someone said, hey, whatever you're doing, business, whatever's going on in your life, you can put an ad on the homepage of facebook.com. How many people would come and buy from you if that was, the real estate that you had? I thought to myself, that's what I want. And so what I did is I spent 6 months knocking on doors, and finally this company, MSN.com, gave me a meeting, and I said, listen, I have all this content. You guys are publishing this content and you're paying for it. You're buying it from all these different places. What if I give you my content for free? And they said, why would you give us your content for free? And I said, all I want are links back to my website. Every time you have an article of mine on your website, I want at the bottom, it says, read more on John's blog. And overnight, I went from being a nobody to being one of the biggest content sites in the world. This is BuzzFeed before BuzzFeed existed. And that was sort of my very first taste of figuring out how to hijack attention. It's not about being the loudest person in the room. It's about going to where the microphone is and grabbing it and figuring out how to put yourself there. And then once you have the microphone, of course, keeping the attention, which is, like I said before, entertainment, education, inspiration. I got to plug my book also. So I got this bestseller over here, Marketing Superpowers. And I talk a lot about, in this exact book, how I did that, 20 years ago and how we're still doing it today, because it's even easier today than it was 20 years ago.
Amazing. And I'm sure I'm going to go to that book already. I don't even know which one of it to say, but I caught it when you said, it's not about being the loudest in the room, it's going to the microphone. Gosh, man.
That's it. Listen, if you're the loudest in the room, you're going to go hoarse. Your voice is going to be gone because you're going to be screaming. Just go on stage and grab the microphone. Figure out how to do that, and you're going to speak to a lot more people.
If you missed that, man, you've missed a lot. I'm just looking at that, and I'm looking at the Global Entrepreneurship Festival next week. There's a lot of microphones there. There's a lot of microphones. People that can impact your business, people that can move you from where you are, people that can speak for you, people that can amplify your voice. There's about what? There's a lot of microphones coming from across the world. I hope you understand what I'm calling microphones right now. Are you grabbing them? Are you coming to that room where you can hold onto a mic, be it a wireless mic, a headset mic, or hand-free mic, whatever it is, and hold on to that person to propel your voice louder to the entire world? Amazing. Thank you for that. Thank you so much for that. And I love the way you broke it down. Entertainment, education, inspiration. Guys, can you believe that all we've been trying to shout every day on the internet is broken into these three? Thank you, John Davis. And I will not forget the fact, I hope you guys heard, 6 months of knocking on the door. And that's where I'm going to now move back to Carmichael, because we both heard that, brother. 6 months of knocking on the door. Many people here cannot knock for a week. They cannot knock for 2 months. But this is 6 months. And I'm sure you've got similar stories as well. How do we keep knocking is similar to how do you keep running? So I'm not going to ask it that way. What I'm going to ask this way is, when the door is not opening, what keeps you going to even keep on knocking? If that makes sense to you, you can answer the question.
Yeah. So my last company was business to business sales technology company. So we had sales development reps that were knocking on doors basically on the internet. So basically we would just be making calls, email, LinkedIn, phone calls, like whatever it may be. And I think honestly, it helped us hone in on the messaging, right? So you have to look at everything as a kind of learning experience and getting you closer to what opening the door is, right? If you kick a door, for example, like at some point it is going to break, right? It's going to open at some point. And you kind of have to look at it like that. You have to look at it as like the consistency, one, to do it every day. If you're doing it for a week and you and you don't and you stop, I mean, you just have to be honest with yourself that you actually weren't that passionate about it. This is probably a short-sighted thing for you, and you just don't actually want to do the work. I think that's something to say, is like, have the conversation with yourself and be honest and say maybe you just don't want to do it. And the second thing is, if you do want to do it, look at everything as learning, right? It is just getting you closer to unlocking that door. And I mean, that's with anything in life, right? You have to tweak things here, tweak things there, and I think you have to look at it as a game as well. If it's not play for you, it's just going to be difficult. So try to make it like these knocking on the doors play. Like
Hmm.
don't be so obsessed with again going back to process and progress and not perfection in the process. Don't look at it as like I want to make $1 million or this. Like just look at it as like an opportunity to learn, grow, learn more about yourself, learn more about the business. And if you make it play, you will have a lot of fun because it will become play for you.
I love it. Play with work. That's what Michael Caldwell just said right here. I hope you heard it. If you heard entertainment in business, entertainment in finance, and now we've heard again play with work so you can have fun with it. And of course, there's one very profound thing he said in the most simplified way. Let me help you break it down so you can understand what he just said. He said, maybe you just don't want to do it. Honestly. Because if you really want to do it, you're going
You
to get
do.
it done.
Uh,
So it's high time you told yourself the truth, entrepreneurs. Look at the situation right in front of you. Look at your targets. Look at what's happening. Maybe you just don't want to do it. But if you're honest with yourself and you really want to do it, then you're gonna get it done. Come, Michael, stay with me here, brother. I'm not gonna let you go. Stay with
Yeah,
me
yeah, no
here.
worries.
Because right now I've got something else to ask you. 50 plus countries, different continents across the world you've traveled to. Now, seeing different culture, different grounds, different market. As an entrepreneur, especially even looking at Global Entrepreneurship Festival coming up, where there are going to be different people from different parts of the world. With your experience with travel, let's bring business into your travel. Now, how do you how do I put this question now? How do you marry that to your advantage, where you can travel from year to year and use the understanding from here and there to make money? Or how you can know French and know a Frenchman and know a Spaniard, and how you can use that combination to make money. In a nutshell, how do I make money across borders? The mic is yours.
Oh man, I think that's multifaceted, right? One is just understanding understanding culture in general, I think is beneficial. But to make money across cultures, I think I'll be honest about one thing is like I think being American it has been beneficial, right? Because I'm able to see like the American landscape, and then also see like different arbitrage opportunities. Honestly, that's one of my biggest fortes, I guess. Like doing stuff in Eastern Europe, doing stuff in South America as well. That's definitely one thing. But I also think that now what I'm seeing in being in Kenya, like a large part of my time being in South Africa, um, there's a lot of opportunity in your backyard that goes overlooked. And I think that a lot of Kenyans, a lot of people I meet in South Africa, they're constantly looking outside instead of trying to solve some of the problems inside. And I think like understand that that is your advantage is that a lot of people don't understand the problems inside. So if you can understand the problems inside and leverage kind of understanding of like some maybe American solutions, European solutions, whatever it may be, and try to bring some of those same exact solutions within your continent. I think those are also advantageous. Sometimes you don't have to recreate the wheel. That's one, and just understanding that that is a humongous benefit. Because I think people in your country trust you definitely more than they trust people outside of it. So if you can be a connector and be a bridge, that is humongous.
Oh
Um,
man.
and also just meet people online, by the way. That's
Yeah.
like I met so many like one of my business partners, he actually introduced me to you. I think he's gonna be at the conference. I met him online on LinkedIn through his business partner who was chatting me from Thailand, and maybe I was in South America at the time. And so like don't be scared to put yourself out there online to get an understanding of different cultures and like ask questions and like even if you just knocking on doors in general, right? Where we say most people will give you 15 minutes of their time. So if you have that low barrier to entry, like, hey, you have a good hook on LinkedIn and you say, can I get 15 minutes of your time? You'll be surprised at the people that would talk to you. So do
Mm.
that all the time. Maybe you set a goal for like 1 or 2 days, one or two times a week. Try to chat with someone that you don't know. Um, and you use HubSpot. HubSpot is a great thing to kind of keep some of those contacts in order, if you will. But yeah, like I would say one, own where you are for sure. Like understand that the opportunity is in your backyard. Don't feel the need to actually recreate the wheel. Some of these opportunities are some of these solutions and probably have already been made. Don't be nervous about bringing them into your ecosystem, and then also meet as many people as you can online. You'll never know where those opportunities may lead to, and you'll probably meet some of your best friends that way as well.
Oh my God, thank you so much. I'm trying to see what's happening here to my system, but while I try to arrange that quickly, I'm going to speak from the dark. Yeah, hopefully miracle happens, but as long as you can hear my voice, I think there's a power issue right now, which I'm sure is going to be rectified in a few seconds. I want to say something, touch a point on what you said. The first thing is meeting people online. And, when you were just saying that, something just came to my mind. Like, you would not believe how many people out there are bored. They just want to talk to somebody. You won't believe that. I hope there's a power. They check it up on this power for me. Sorry, because it's a bit, let me just get this out, distracting to talk out of the dark. But yeah, you're not going to believe how many people are bored and are waiting to talk to you. So that is powerful. And I love the way you did a recap of what you spoke about. You're a great speaker. You know what you said. You ran down through it again, and that's quite interesting. And I really like that. But there's one other thing that came to my mind when you said, just meet people. And I realized that if you're not connecting across borders or across countries, you're missing out a lot. If you're seeing events like Global Entrepreneurship Festival, you're not there, you're missing out a lot. Because my reason is, watch this or listen to this. Do you know, true story, that someone just said, I'm looking for this plant. Do you have it in your country? And the other person became a billionaire. Just like that. Because they had that plant in their country. Nobody buys that plant. Nobody even knows what that plant is for. Guys, start making friends in places where resources of your country are gold in that country. There are some rocks in your country that means nothing to you. But if you take it across the ocean, those rocks are the best medication. I can't even explain this right now. But what we're trying to say is that sometimes you may work on the biggest business plan, go to the biggest business schools, try to understand business, and all you need is that phone call that says, hey, Mvetu, do you have a plan called ABC? We're looking for it live in South Africa. And you're like, ABC? It's in my backyard, man. Really? Send me 5 kilos. And you send 5 kilos and he sends $5 million. That's how some people made it. And then they come online and say, I made my millions, writing books for us, doing whatever. All they did was sold something that was precious in another country. Would you ever miss that opportunity as an entrepreneur? Because it always comes. It comes, that phone call, that relationship, that person you meet that just says, let's do this. So while we begin to enjoy this, while we continue to enjoy this conversation, rather, if you're just joining us, amazing speakers in the room, John Davis from the United States, Carmichael from the United States, and of course, Mlamuli from South Africa. Follow the speakers, stay connected to them, share their works, reference them, remark them, recommend them, because of course, they're giving us a lot of impact and value, all for free. And I thank you guys for that, honestly. John Davis, let's tap into that book of yours, which I recommend for everyone to get that book. Extremely important that you get winning. Yours is actually the marketing superpowers. Yes.
Mine's marketing superpowers. And just so you guys know, you can head over and get a bunch of it is free. Go to marketingsuperpowersbook.com and you can grab like the first 10 chapters, I think.
You heard it again. You heard it again. What else do you want? Ain't you blessed being in this room? Get your free copy of Marketing Superpowers. And when you get it, read it. And when you read it, recommend it. And when you recommend it, appreciate him live on this platform. I always say, generosity might be done in private, but appreciation must be done in public. Don't say, no, go out there, write it on his link, write it on his comment under his page and say, he gave me a book for free and I enjoyed it to change my life, whatever. Remember to do that, because the universe sees and it gives back to those that appreciate. Now, my brother, what I want to talk from you, John Davis, is this. Listen to it. Listen to it. Marketing superpowers. Now, this year in my organization is declared, our watchword for this year is our year of selling. Every year we have a watchword. Last year was our year of professionalism. This year is our year of selling. From your experience, from your book, which one would you call the most important superpower an entrepreneur should have in marketing? The mic is yours.
That's a great question. I think when it comes to selling and just in general being able to have resources for life, you know, the old expression, if you give somebody a fish, they'll eat for a day. If you teach them how to fish, they'll never go hungry again. I think in business, it really is about the law of attraction. Everything that you do, whether it's selling to a client or to an investor or to a banker or to an employee or to a supplier, whatever it is that you need to do, you are constantly trying to influence people to do what you are asking them to do what you want them to do what you need them to do. But there's so much more to it than that. You can't just ask someone to do something against their self-interest or just because you feel like having them do it. So understanding how to create win-win situations, mutually beneficial situations across the board. And there's so much that goes into that. It's empathy, it's sympathy, but ultimately, just to bring it back to the high level, it's about the law of attraction. And so it's about creating something that people actually want to indulge in and engage in. One tactic that we use a lot of the time. So every month, I reach through my platforms about 6 million people, and I've never paid $1 for paid media. I probably should. I'm actually kind of stupid. I should probably pay for that as well. But I reach about 6 million people a month without paying $1 to any of the platforms, you know, the podcast platforms, the TikTok, Instagram, whatever. And the reason I do that, and in some messages I'm providing value, and a lot of them I'm just providing value, and sometimes I'm selling something. But at the end of the day, the content that I'm making and the stuff that I'm talking about is genuinely interesting. And if I ever had a thought for a second that I was going to say something or write something or send out an email to, 400,000 people that was boring, I would never, ever do that. I would never want to be boring. I would want to make sure that I'm either providing value, and if I'm trying to sell something or what have you, I'm going to make it really, really interesting and high value from the beginning. So again, bringing it all back to the first thing I said, you have to understand that the greatest superpower you can have when it comes to marketing and sales and business in general is being able to attract people to your cause without forcing them to come into it.
I was about to grab my pen and John Davis stopped. I was going to write that down quickly. Attracting. Just attract them. That's the most beautiful one you can ever get.
Always. Think about you mentioned that you guys had an election today.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't matter how many ads, how many commercials any candidate runs. At the end of the day, if you're going to elect somebody for mayor, for prime minister, for president, whatever, there has to be something there that draws you to them, and that's at the core of all this stuff.
Wow, thank you so much for that.